The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off.
Hey!
Good morning. Hello. I wanted to talk about how to determine what your purpose is here, and how to kind of like how to go about uncovering your life path and your life's purpose, and how to have a sense of knowing where you're going, in the sense that even if you are not able to be at your end goal right now, every moment that you are conscious and awake, you're directing your energy toward that goal, and you're very clear on what that goal is. And it's a goal that is fulfilling, it's a goal that is self-directed, and something that is in line with your spiritual purpose in your journey, in your destiny, all of that. So it took me a while to kind of uncover what my purpose was here. I slowly was getting introduced to different steps, different elements of my purpose, I would say, because it is a multifaceted path. In case you were wondering, I recorded this at like 6:30 in the morning, so I was super tired. So using my logical 3D brain wasn't working, so I literally just had to tune into my higher self and my ancestral guides and sages and deliver the message that spirit wanted me to deliver, despite the fact that I was tired. So I literally had to shut off my logical mind and just start channeling. So that's what you're about to see now. The purpose of feelings is to channel energy within the human body. So by channeling our feelings, we are literally engaging in magic, because the feelings that we have engineer and they fuel the physical things that we end up receiving as a result of the energy that we have. So whatever physical things we receive, it will be the energetic match of the body, the vessel that will be receiving these things. So feelings allow us to align with the energetic frequency of whatever it is that we want to attract. And with that being said, our whole purpose for living is to have a purpose. Like, the whole point of being here on earth is to have a life purpose and a goal to complete, and to have something to do. And when we lose sight of that, it's just us losing sight of like source and God is God creator, because by nature the only purpose of a human being, and mind you, a human being, not a reptile or a robot, or like some things are shape shifted of this world to appear as human beings, but they're really not. And so human beings are sent here as spiritual beings having a human experience, meaning that we have to understand the way in which we create abundance in this world, but more so, we realize that we are only here, we are incarnated within this vessel for a period of time in order to complete a very specific goal and to have a purpose, and then we kind of let it go. With that being said, in order to identify our life's purpose, we need to be the Maestro of our feelings. It's interesting how like it came in Spanish, but hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, like the magician almost of our feelings, meaning that in order to be the magician, we have to first understand that our feelings are energy. We have to second understand the importance of energy, and then third, know how to shift energy, know how to alchemize energy, know what to do with energy, or know how to direct our energy in a way that is effective and in line with our life's purpose. With that being said, in order to discover, our programming has run pretty deep in that it has shut out the opportunity for us to discover our feelings. So we are working very like uphill. Okay, let me just say this now. So we had to like abolish the notion that energy or psychic awareness is like an opinion or a side of Twitter or like a religious thing, because the fact is that energy is basically the only thing that does exist. And so for certain it's not up for debate, but it's also not one's opinion. And it doesn't, like, believing in energy isn't aligned with one particular viewpoint or one particular, like, experience with religion or spirituality. Like, identifying energy as a real thing is just like a factor of being a human being, because it is like, it's the nature of human beings. Like, we are energy. So we all have to understand that energy exists. Now, how we understand energy, we can go on to explore that within our own vessels, because there are very many ways to understand it. But so, with that being said, if you are not being called to further clarify or to remind yourself of what energy or psychic awareness looks like, chakra balancing, chakra healing, anything that has to do with frequencies, vibrations, energies, if you're not being called to look into that, to discover that information, then it's just not your time right now. Like, you weren't meant to be exposed to that information right now. And with that being said, be mindful of, well, even though that's the case, that is not an invitation for you to kind of like dispel or downplay the whole idea of energy just because it's not your time to like dive into it yet, because it is a very real thing that will, that plays, that's fundamental in our lives. It will come back. Like, you will have a time, like, especially if you're listening to this. First of all, if you're listening to this in depth, like if you're watching the full video, you're absolutely being called to discover energy beyond what I can even share with you, because I had to learn from somewhere. And furthermore, there is more for you to learn than what's coming from me. It just so happens that I was the vessel that you needed to be exposed to right now in order to hear this message, in order to jumpstart your journey, and begin discovering. But perhaps if you're just like watching a clip or something, then it may not be your time, you know, and that's fine, because another part of understanding our purpose here is that everyone has their own purpose, and divine timing is always like, it's like, what's the word? Divine timing is exact. Divine timing knows exactly what it's doing. So, to other people, one thing that I had to remind myself of is that everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be in order to be in relation to their life's purpose. Everyone is achieving just the right amount. If you're being challenged to level up and you're standing in your own way, then analyze that. But also realize that standing in your own way is a part of your life's purpose. So, like, make sure to vibrate in a place of acceptance rather than shame when identifying like the ways in which you stood in your own way, or the things that, you know, even if you looked at energy or frequencies in a way that you're maybe not proud of now, accept that, and accept that as part of your journey. Because for one thing, acceptance is in the same vibration as love, you know what I mean, and it helps you to ascend, but also it helps you to be merciful and have compassion for other people who maybe are at that stage right now. Because if we were never at a point of low, if we were never at a point of confusion or unclarity, then we wouldn't be able to relay messages, because it would seem as though we don't understand the point that people are at when we do. And the only reason we do is because we've been there before, which is why we were there. So back to life's purpose and energy being related. Since our programming relies upon us suppressing our feelings, being out of touch with our feelings, or rather putting our feelings in a box, meaning that somebody else could probably explain the feelings that we're feeling, just for the simple fact that feelings aren't trivial. And this is what we've been led to believe, and it's just very untrue, because there are no words to describe feelings. Like, in there is only understanding that can't be, understanding of feelings can't be replicated, and it can't be synthesized or faked, which is why if you compartmentalize feelings to be represented by a particular set of words, then you, number one, you standardize it and you make it as though like if you're feeling this, then it must be related to this, and if not, then you're out of whack. There's a less ableist term to, I think it's like you're you you're out of alignment, in terms of this 3D world or whatever. If you're feeling something and it can't be easily explained, then that's kind of your problem, as opposed to realizing that no feelings can be explained, really. I mean, we try our best. Given the imprint that we have here, we're actually doing a pretty good job of like translating spiritual information through the 3D world. We do like a pretty good job of that. But the point is that the information is just, in order to even do that, you have to come to this point of understanding that's inexplicable. So sometimes you have to resonate with the vibration, with the feeling, with the energy, instead of like what makes logical sense, instead of words that are being shown to you, instead of words that you've been told before. That it's kind of almost like the concept of now. Do you know that they're teaching math differently? Because it's like kids were understanding that 1 + 1 = 2, but they weren't understanding that like, because I'm holding one thing here and one thing here, I'm holding two things. Because they were understanding like the recycling instead of conceptualizing. And that just, I would argue, is largely because it's like convincing you of what your reality is instead of allowing you to sense your reality and place words to it. It's more so like defining your reality for you, and almost as though if this definition isn't sufficient, then you kind of have to deal with that alone. And so back to what I was saying about life purpose.